afternoon. Welcome back to what I call my no-name channel, although it's actually the Bruce Pullman channel. I am Bruce Pullman, and I'm an anthropologist, and this is another Bali COVID-19 update for June 18th, 2020, coming from Singaraj, Bali. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, welcome back. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about the numbers, of course, as usual. And then after that, we're going to talk about yoga in Bali. If you've been to Bali before, you probably know about yoga in Bali, especially yoga in Ubud. They've kind of become synonymous. So a little bit about that article that I read. Then we're going to be talking about the government looking at creating a travel bubble or a travel corridor with 3 countries and how that's going and how wise is it following that. And related to that, no mask for Garuda. What's happening there? And visa information, some good news on the visa information front, especially if you are a Kitas person. And then, of course, follow up with when will Bali open, and listen to something that comes directly from the governor, not something from the many Facebook travel pages that give people the idea that Bali is already open. It's not officially open. Okay, let's get started. What are the numbers like? Well, going up, and yesterday was a particularly bad day. We had an additional 47 cases, which takes us to 829 now. Positives, 542 recovered, so good news there. We're holding steady at 6 deaths, and there are now 281 active cases. So numbers are going up, and over in the country as a whole, we're averaging 1,000 a day for the last week, and so it went up yesterday another 1,000 or so, and so we're up to 41,431 with 2,276 deaths. So Indonesia is number 1 in Southeast Asia in terms of COVID-19. Okay, now part of this has been attributed to additional testing, and so that's good news. There's more testing. More cases are going to come up as more tests are done, and so yeah, encourage that. And that's happening both on the national level and on the local level in Bali as well. More testing is being done and more follow-ups on the testing. So that, again, we're getting better at that here. Gives us a better idea of what's going on. And what about the new cases? Well, out of those new 47, 30 of them were at Denpasar. And you remember the last video was on the small team that the governor formed for Denpasar, and so Denpasar's got another 30 cases, and a lot of those centered around the market. Other cases, Klungkung 6 and Bulaang 5. And the Bulaang case included a staff member for the regional representative government. So some testing is being done there. And foreigners, right? I've mentioned before, well, so we get a foreigner tested, but we don't know where he is. What the government says, we don't attribute foreigners to any place because they move around a lot, and so we don't know. And most of these cases are people that have gone to get tested because they want to leave the country. They're going back home, I guess, and so they go in to get tested, and 6 of them have been positive. Okay, and in the meantime, we have hundreds of returning migrant workers showed up and showed up on ships in Manoa, 2 cruise ships, and so they're going through the process of being tested and quarantined if necessary, and that whole issue that I've talked about before. So, good news, bad news. The good news is that testing is getting better, and there's more of it, and there's more continuity in following up cases and doing tracing. The bad news is numbers are going up, and once again the governor has attributed this to a lack of discipline. People are just not taking this seriously enough. Okay, got to take this seriously, and I'm going to talk about people who are not taking it seriously, definitely, shortly. Okay, so I was out a little bit today. Mask, yeah. Social distancing. Okay. And a note to myself: turn off notifications on the smartphone next time you do this. Okay. So yoga in Bali. So there's an interesting article about yoga in Bali, teaching yoga in Bali. And according to the article, there's more than 100 academies for training yoga teachers on the island. A lot, okay. And centered in Ubud, and so thousands of teachers are trained every year here. And, well, they're teachers that want to work. Unfortunately, the reality is that they can't all work here. There's just not enough jobs, and getting to work here in any way is not easy. There's a lot of regulations that go on with getting work and getting sponsored, and I'm not going to go into that whole issue. If you want to work here, good luck. I have. Okay, it's certainly possible, and there are other people, but it's not easy. If you want to come to work here as a bartender, forget it. Now, somebody's going to say, well, I know so-and-so's a bartender. Okay, maybe they're doing it illegally. I don't know. So we've got this huge worldwide wellness industry that, according to the article, generates $639 billion a year. That's US dollars, $639 billion. And Asia has become a hotspot for this wellness industry, and especially Bali, a former village, the village known formerly as being a center of arts, music, dance, painting, sculpture, is now known by many people as the yoga capital. And if you're in Ubud, you'll see they have certain cafes, these yoga people, the yogis, I guess, that they like, and you walk by and see them. Everybody's got their yoga clothes on. They look very smart. I'm neither here nor there. I don't practice yoga, but a lot of people do. I heard it's good for you, it's healthy. Some friends of mine do it. I don't. The mindset of some of the people that goes with yoga, the woke mindset, is trying at best. Give me a break. Ubud is one of those places where lots of foreigners are not wearing masks. Are they the yoga people? I don't know. My guess from reading social media is that there's the yoga, the non-mask people and the non-helmet people kind of coincide because, I don't need it, and I don't care if I get sick or not. I'm young and healthy, and whoa, who's going to tell me what to do? Okay, and so there was a little image that I put up before, right from the government. It's a government official thing, and what is the first thing that it says down there? Wear mask. Doesn't make any difference if it's a law. You've got people on social media going, oh, it's a law. It's not a law, so I don't have to do it. You're here. The government's telling you, please wear a mask. Wear the damn mask. I say this every video. Wear the mask. I don't know about who's wearing them or who's not wearing them in other areas, but in Bali, in Singaraja, Bali, the overwhelming majority of people are wearing masks when they're out in public. I saw a video, I was watching some videos yesterday evening, some travel videos of foreigners who are still here, and down in Canggu, okay, they're in the gym, nobody had mask on. In the cafe, nobody had mask on. Walking on the street, nobody had mask on. At the beach, nobody had mask on. Okay, obviously Canggu is separate from everywhere else. You can do whatever you want to in Canggu. These are foreigners disobeying what the government has asked people to do. Basically saying, screw you, I'm gonna do what I want to. You don't want to get with the program, go home, please. Because there are those of us who don't want to be exposed to your potential germs. And this is not a question of how cool you are, how macho you are. If you're a Trumpian, hey, great. Trump gets tested all the time. He's got people around him. They're all wearing masks, even though he's not. So get with the program. Put a mask on. Anyway, back to the yoga. So a lot of people being trained here, and part of the article is some people saying, well, this is all these foreigners are here and they get trained and then they're disappointed, they're not working, and there's some mistakes in the article, so I take this with a grain of salt. It said that starting cost for foreigners living in Bali is $50 a day. Give me a break. You can get by on a lot less than $50 a day. $50 a day is $1,500 a month. You can live pretty well if you're single on $1,500 a month. So that was something I had issues with. But it's an interesting take on yoga in Bali, which have kind of become, as I've said, synonymous. And so, take a look. There's a link down below. It's an interesting article to read. Okay, next up. Government's looking at creating a travel corridor, or a bubble. So, other countries in the region have been doing this. Singapore's working on creating, what do they call it with China? A quick zone or something. So they have that. And a fast lane agreement with China. Thailand's working on creating a bubble with Japan, some cities in China, probably not Beijing right now, South Korea, Vietnam, so countries where supposedly the coronavirus is under control. But as you see, if you're following Korea, and if I ever get around to doing the weekly news on the other channel up here, I kind of put that off for a while, and there's technical reasons, but I'm not going to get into that now. You see, Korea's getting spikes again, and China has the problem in Beijing, which is international news these days, and they had last week, for a couple of weeks, they had problems up in the north, up in Jilin, and the province next to that. So, what places are really safe? Well, right now, it looks like in Asia, you've got Australia, New Zealand, and Taiwan. Those places are like down at zero. So no other places. Anyway, so the government sees that some countries here are getting these travel bubbles going, and so they think, okay, this is a good idea. Why don't we look into this? So where are they looking? Okay, they're looking at Australia, Japan, China, South Korea. Okay, now I've already discussed China and South Korea. They've got new cases. Okay, Japan is not over the virus yet, so who knows? And well, Australia is, but Australia, from what I read, the most recent thing was that they're not really going to get into international travel until next year. Well, that's allowing people in. I don't know about allowing people out. I think a lot of Aussies will come here as soon as Bali opens up, just because that's the way Aussies are. And so, yeah, I don't know. So, what about the travel bubble? Well, the government's looking at it, and people in the tourist industry are really pushing to get Bali open and really pushing to get into July. There's an article, link below. It's in Indonesian, but again, you can Google translate it if you want. That says that hotels are ready. Yeah, we're ready. 90% set to go. Now we've got everything in. The cost of the safety procedures is going to end at 10 to 15% onto their budgets. Is that going to get passed along to the tourists? Probably not right at first, because you want to get people to come in later, more likely, although it may just disappear if the virus is ever brought under control, if there's a vaccine that's developed. So anyway, they want to do the travel bubble, and so some epidemiologists here say, whoa, hold on, too early. What are we talking about, a travel bubble? We're still, the last week, we've had 1,000 cases a day just in the whole country, and in Bali alone, we've got 47 new ones yesterday. Every day we're getting 25 to 35 cases, and testing is still not as full as it could be. So, is it time? Epidemiologists say, no, it's not time. Hold on. The Balinese government, and I'm going to talk about this more in just a minute, said no, it's not time yet. So, what are the possibilities? This is still apparently in the planning stage with the government. They're looking at 4 countries where we get a lot of tourists: Australia and China. Big tourist numbers there, of course. A lot of Japanese tourists, especially honeymooners. Bali is very popular with Japanese honeymooners and South Korean honeymooners. And Aussies, of course, are a mainstay in Bali. And so the numbers are way down this year. So the numbers are, where's my numbers? Numbers down 72% for China for the first quarter here from last year. 41% South Korea, 45% Japan, 33% Australia. So it's numbers are way down, and of course now we don't get any. There are no visas being issued for tourists at this time, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And so, is it time yet to do this travel bubble? Will other countries want to do a travel bubble with Indonesia at this, or create a travel corridor? And what is that? It's just an agreement, this travel corridor, travel bubble. It's just an agreement between countries that they're going to facilitate coming and going without quarantining. So tourists from South Korea, for example, could come here. They wouldn't have to go through any kind of quarantine. They're going to be most likely having to bring a document that says that they're free of the virus, but then no quarantine, and boom, they can go out. Okay, so that's it. The chairman of the Indonesian Tourism Intellectual Association said that it's going to be important to develop tourist trust in Indonesia and in the safety procedures and protocols that are in place before we really get full-scale tourism back, and that's going to take some time to develop this trust. And so, yeah, the travel bubble thing is not happening right now. And in terms of trust, that leads me to my next story. No mask for Garuda. So this is just like, okay. Part of this story was, I think, clickbait, because based on what actually the story says, it's not that there's no mask. It said that Garuda is going to move away from having people wear masks because passengers have been complaining that they can't see if the flight attendants are smiling or frowning at them. Too bad. So let's put the flight attendants at risk by making them not wear masks. Well, so Garuda says, yeah, we're gonna stop that. We're looking at different things, like maybe the face shield. I don't know if they said they're going to do this immediately. They're not going to take out. When you read the headline, you think, okay, they've stopped wearing masks. But according to the article, they're not going to stop immediately. They're going to phase into something else, and they're looking at that. Is that a good idea? I don't know. What are they going to replace it with? Let's see. But does it build trust in Indonesia's seriousness in handling COVID-19? It doesn't build my trust when Garuda's going to go, okay, well, you know, tourists or foreigners or locals, everybody is complaining, oh, I can't see the flight attendants smiling or frowning at me. Okay, so we'll you know, put them in harm's way. Okay, well, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But yeah, we'll see what Garuda comes up with before making a final comment about, oh, Garuda's terrible. But yeah, entitled people these days. Get with the program. Okay, and visa information. Okay, some good news in visa information. According to an article in the Indonesian Expat online, Visa Online, foreigners on tourist visas, tourist visa, business visa, social visa, VOA, visa on arrival, you're still safe. The government doesn't want to see you, immigration doesn't want to see you, just, you know, keep doing what you're doing. The visas are good until the state of emergency is declared, and I said this in the last video, it's declared finished by the president, and nobody is going to be fined. There's no 8 fines that are going to occur. How long you're going to have to take care of a visa or leave after the state of emergency is done hasn't been really discussed yet, but they said no fines. So that if I was in a situation, I would relax and yeah, get on with what I'm doing here. Visas for tourists are still not being issued, so let me be real clear about that. No visas for tourists. You can't come, sorry. They're just not ready. Bali is not ready to be open, and that's going to be the next topic, right? Foreigners with expired kitasas and kitaps, just like I said the other day, you can come back and deal with that situation, so you're welcome to return, but you need to have a health certificate in English, and you need to have a statement letter that says that you will be willing to be quarantined for 14 days, and you need to be coming from a country that is COVID-19 free for a minimum of 14 days. And if you're in the process, this is good news, if you're in the process of getting a key test, you know, that was stopped, it is now going to start up again. You can go back and get the process going to get your key test. So, good news. Okay, and the government is preparing, this article said the government is preparing to issue tourist entry permits for China, South Korea, Japan, and Australia, the travel bubble group, right? Okay, we don't know where that's going to go. So for the time being, yeah, there's no visas being issued. And that brings us to a When Will Bali Open? And When Will Bali Open? Okay, now, like I said, I was watching some travel videos last night, and there was a lot of, well, you know, Bali's open, Bali's cool, look, you know, the cafes are going. So I was looking at a video posted June 10th, so, you know, last week. And like I said, everybody in China, all the foreigners, hanging out, no mask, out on the beach, surfing, messing around, people sitting right next to each other in cafes, in workspaces. So they're not playing by the rules. And what did the governor say? Despite what you may hear in a video from somebody that says, oh yeah, Bali's going to be open next month. Okay, the tourist industry, the hotel industry wants to be open in July, but what does the governor say? There was a meeting a couple of days ago, Wednesday, and we're going to take a look at what they said. So according to the government Facebook page, and there's a link down here, the governor met along with the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, that's the National Minister for Tourism and Creative Economy, in Ubud at a restaurant. And they were talking about the situation, and the minister was touring around Bali, taking a look at opening up and what can happen with that. And the governor said Bali is not ready for tourism, especially international tourism, because right now the priority is still getting a handle on COVID-19 here. There are still new cases every day there from local transmission. So he said this is the focus right now. It's accelerating the way the government is dealing with this. Let's get on. So the governor said, okay, so we're not ready to open yet, especially international tourism, because of we still have these cases showing up every day, and so the government is doing things, but at this point there is a plan. Okay, and so this article has the plan, and what is the plan? Plan is starting July 9th, okay, things are going to open up. They're going to start opening up sectors of Bali just for locals, okay, just for people that are here. What those sectors are wasn't exactly clear, didn't specifically say, but sectors are going to be open for locals. That's July. So, okay, good news. In August, things continue to go right. Domestic travel. Okay, Bali will be open for domestic travel in August. Okay. Then things continue to go okay. September, phase 3, international travel. Okay, and like I said in the video the other day, they want to open all of Bali up to all regions at one time. They don't want just sections. That would be a nightmare to keep track of. You've got to keep track of where the tourists are going. So everything's got to be ready. And so this is just a plan, okay? And the governor said, look, this is not set in stone. This is our plan at this point. With ideal situation. So July 9th, things are going to get back together. Not education yet. They said they're waiting to see what's going to happen with education. Please open the schools up, I hope, if it's safe. I'd like to see Zoe back in school. So it's not set in stone. It depends on the situation and the dynamics of the development of COVID-19, especially the local transmissions. Because the governor said, look, we're afraid, second wave. I think we're still in the first wave. So he said, what if a second wave happens? We have to go back again. As he has said so many times, and I have commented so many times, he said that the continuation in cases is because of a lack of discipline on the local population. And they're doing some safety procedures in markets. The guns shoot, you have to wear a mask. If you're a foreigner and you're going into a market, wear the mask. Sometimes Balinese are hesitant to challenge foreigners. Don't put them in that position. Why would you do that? This has got nothing to do with your damn freedom. It's politeness, if nothing else. You're in another country. Why put somebody at risk? Okay? Balinese are not going to challenge you for the most part. Some will. Some Pechalan will definitely challenge you. But a lot of the clerks in stores, mini markets, restaurants, they're not going to challenge you. Put a mask on. Don't make foreigners do it. And that's a whole other issue. Maybe we'll talk about that sometime, but not now. Of course, if you know me, you know I stay away from foreigners anyway. Pain in the butt. Okay, and so the Minister of Tourism was pleased with what he saw in Bali. He said that Bali's preparation is great, that they're keeping up with the tracing, the testing, making sure people stay quarantined. And he noted that tourism is an issue of trust, and are people going to come back? They have to trust the government, that the government is doing the right thing. And so he said, yeah, it looks like the protocols that the hotels have developed is the right thing. We're on the right path here to opening up, and again, maybe September for international travel. That's better than October, right? Okay, let's see. So, okay, I'm hoping that things open up, the sooner the better. I've got a son-in-law who's got a tourist business that's not making any money, and he supports my granddaughter and grandson and one of my daughters. And I've got another daughter who wants to get married in a couple of months, and so this is impacting her wedding plans. Got a son who wants to start freelance business. This is impacting his plans. And then I've got the baby of the family who's going to go back to school someday, I guess. She's home here in her room sleeping most of the time. So yeah, let's get opened up. Okay, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I do not have my my brace yet for my DJI Osmo Pocket, and so I'm filming inside where there's no breeze. As soon as the brace comes, I'm going to try it outside, because I really like filming outside. It's really hot inside here, because I turned the fan off. Somebody mentioned, there was a comment, you need to turn your fan off too when you're filming. So I have, and it's really uncomfortable. And so that's it. Okay, this is way too long. And thanks for watching. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, and I see I've been getting some subscribers, thank you. And I'm still working on doing some videos to put on the other channel and on this channel as well, of just Singaraja, and maybe I'll take a trip to Lovina just to see what things look like over there this weekend. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so that's it. Stay safe, wear a mask, be kind to someone today. Thanks for viewing.